I'm going to cover another story on Israel following on from my last video. This piece is from the American Frontline Doctors and it says, Israel's Supreme Court order COVID Iron Curtain lifted. This was published on March the 17th, 2021. After the State of Israel failed to satisfactorily respond to Thursday's Supreme Court order to provide a reason why the special authorities' regulation for dealing with the novel coronavirus restricting exit from entry into Israel and restricting operation of airports and flights should not be cancelled. The court today overruled the limits imposed by the government on the total number of passengers allowed to enter Israel by air each day. The petition that led to the ruling was written by attorney Batya Sash and submitted by the firm of Sash, David Price Hegedish. The 3,000 passenger daily limit will end on Saturday, March the 20th. The three-judge panel issued the ruling, exhorting the government over its handling of COVID-era air travel. Artut Shevers, David Rosenberg reports the court also ruled as illegal the requirement for travellers who lack both vaccination and recovery certificates to receive special permission to travel from the government committee, eliminating the need to receive exemption committee approval. Those seeking to leave Israel after the coming Saturday will not be required to receive exemption committee permission. The justice, led by Chief Justice Esther Hyatt, blasted the government over the way it adopted the restrictions, saying the decision was made without reference to relevant data. In the future, any restrictions on travel into or out of Israel need, in legal terms, a comprehensive factual database foundation. The court also deplored the restrictions themselves, writing in the ruling that the limits constitute an assault on the very heart of the legal right to enter Israel and to leave it, and other rights that are at the heart of the fabric of life in democratic societies. It seems that instead of investing the effort and resources to enforce isolation, the violation of which is at the centre of fears of variant outbreaks, the government preferred to impose the regime on entry to and departure from Israel that is easier to do but much more seriously harms basic rights. Meanwhile, attorney Ruth Mashnes Sosovsky, whose law office submitted a claim to the International Criminal Court in The Hague that the Israel government is guilty of violating the Nuremberg Code and committing crimes against humanity in its vaccination campaign, said lawyers from around the world are turning to their officers, asking to join the complaint in The Hague. Those same lawyers from around the world recognise the fact that Israel is a country where an experiment was conducted and fear that their countries will also be forced to be exposed to the experiment, she said. The names of the lawyers and the countries joining will be announced later. The law office Monday also sent a letter to the Pfizer demanding an investigation regarding the Pfizer-Netanyahu agreement, emphasising section 4.2.6 that discusses cancelling the agreement as soon as a public investigation is opened. Copies are sent to the FDA, the US Attorney General, members of Congress and the International Criminal Court in The Hague. And this is one of the cases that Reiner Fuellmich is involved in.